What's up? How's it going? Travel Chronicles, chapter 32 is what we're on now. I went through some stuff this weekend, so I might be missing some still, but this definitively, I'm calling this 32. So we're middle of July. The 2 weeks of garbage are over. Today's the first Monday back. I don't have to do production. I'll probably still have to do some production because, oh my gosh, I'm so swamped. Oh, this is crazy. I'm guaranteeing. Like, my boss had to take off right before vacation, conveniently, because she had hives. Pretty serious stuff. So today may be a hive-inducing day as well. Either that or she may be there till like 8 o'clock. Either way, I will not be. Unless something catastrophic goes wrong. Which I'm hoping it doesn't. I always go in with a hope that there is nothing catastrophic going on. Speaking of catastrophes, COVID is still pretty prevalent. Last week, I didn't look at it over the weekend, but last week we had set a record in the U.S. for number of cases in a day. I want to say it was around 75,000 was the record then. I don't know if we broke it on Friday or not. Like I said, I haven't seen anything from the weekend, but it's one of those things now where people are being less concerned. And is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. The thing about having that number of cases, when you look back to when we were having 35,000 a day and 2,500 people die, if you were having 5,000 people die a day, everybody would be pulling the reins. Oh my goodness, this is terrible, this is horrible. And, we got to stop. Because, I'm trying to do the math in my head real quick. Maybe like 20%. No, I mean, it's less than 10%. So, but I mean, that's the immediate death rate. Either way, what we're looking at right now, I think worst case scenario, we're saying it's around 1%, and that's saying that all those deaths that they've attributed to COVID were 100% because of COVID, and not just, oh, hey, there's a thing called COVID. Let's say this guy died from COVID. You're in a car wreck. Oh, you had COVID, and things aren't necessarily related. And I keep going back to we're doing the opposite of what China did. China hit everything and changed numbers, and who knows what really happened there, and they wanted to show it as some type of best case scenario. And in the US we're like, oh, you got COVID, you got COVID, you got COVID, everybody, you got COVID. It's like we're trying to diagnose as many people with it as possible, and at the same time attribute as many deaths to it as possible, whether it was or not. And there's some disingenuousness both ways, because the Chinese, you don't really get a feel for how bad it is, because they had 80,000 cases, 3,000 deaths. Okay, that's pretty bad. It's like a 4-something% death rate, and then it just went away. And they've got 1.3 billion people. 1.4 or more. When it comes to the U.S., we only have 330 million people, and all of a sudden it's spreading like wildfire. Like, we had 80,000 cases in the first month. We're up over 3 million. This year they had 80,000. Like, there's definitely a disconnect here between the two. And like I said, I don't think China told everything they had, and I think the U.S. is being overly generous with the case numbers. I heard one report, I forget where it came from, but they were saying that some cases are being double counted. And you're going to get into these high figures, and you're going to have people maybe travel out of state to get, people live on the border, go to a different state to get tested. So now that state's probably counting their numbers, and then when they come back, it's like, oh, you live here, so now you have it here as well. I'm sure there's some of that, especially right where I live. If you go over to Wheeling to get tested and you come back positive, well, Wheeling's going to count that as a positive case, and then you got, people coming from Ohio, if you live in Belmont County, and Belmont County is going to count that as a case because that's where you live. So, I don't have a lot of faith in the numbers. I think generally they probably are indicating the right things, but now do you have people looking at the numbers objectively? If the cases really are 70,000 a day, 75,000 a day, and the death rate's less than 1,000, do we just try to push through here? Do we say, okay, and I'm not saying just lift restrictions, no masks. I think the things that they've done in businesses, having the glass up, protecting the workers, I think those are great things that are probably going to stay. This is going to be like a 9/11 scenario where, you used to be able to go back to where people boarded the planes, and now, my kids have never experienced that other than when they got on a plane. So I think this is going to be one of those things where, from now on, there's just that divider there, that plexiglass sheet kind of hanging. Old traffic. Nothing major. But I think it'll be around for, the rest of the time. It'll be something that just, doesn't go away. It's a smart thing. It is. You don't want to subject those people, and those are the people that are, handling all your items when you're bringing them across. So if one of those people are sick, man, they're going to spread it like wildfire. However many people come through there, it's 50 or 100 people that are checking out of that. So, I think people have relaxed a good bit as far as the seriousness level of it, but I don't think you're going to get anybody in government right now coming out saying, oh, yep, we're fine, we're good, you're good to go. I don't see that happening. And you can say, well, it's not going to happen until the election. Maybe. But I think leaders, people who are responsible for things, nobody wants to make that call. Nobody wants to take that responsibility on and say, yeah, you know what, it wasn't that bad. Because there's still going to be people dying. There's still going to be people die from this. And people don't want the liability, the litigation from it. So it's like, oh no, you got to be cautious. You got to take all these precautions. You got to wear a mask. You got to social distance, which I'm fine with, for the most part. And just not put yourself in bad situations. Which I'm not 100% sure we did a good job of this weekend. But, at some point, you either got to live or not. It's like, oh, we're going to wait till this is gone, or it may never be gone. It may just be out there. Maybe something just got out and it's out there. You may be able to avoid it for a while too, but you may not be able to avoid it forever. Eventually everybody gets the flu. Sorry. Spoiler alert. Somebody gets it down because right now the company doesn't want to take on that risk, and you can't blame them because somebody comes to work sick and the company was like, oh no, that's okay, and then they spread it home to their home, and a loved one gets it, and they're down for the count. They could bring it back on the company and say, well, they had such a lax policy, it's their fault. The company's like, no, we told you not to come in, we told you not to do this, and we're giving you 10 days off, you should have not been in there. That's what they're going to do. Everybody's going to take a hard line right now, and it's not because they necessarily think that's the right thing. It's because that's the safest route for them. That's the safest route for the government. The government's not going to say, hey, have at her. Let's go ahead, let's play all these sports, let's do all this stuff. It's, they're going to cover their bases. Like, look, sign a waiver. You want to, if you come to this sporting event, you buy a ticket to this sporting event, you are essentially waiving your rights to any COVID litigation. And I think that's fine. I think that's reasonable. If you're in a situation where you're at risk, then don't go. If you got people at home that are going to be at risk, then yeah, you have to make a hard decision. But, I watch what my son's going through his senior year, going to be his senior year, and, it's going to be unlike any other senior year. This last year ended kind of crazily, but yeah, they made it through the first half. Now you're coming in with all kinds of anticipation of things being screwed up. It's going to make it rough. And it's like, no, you want to experience your senior year type things. You want to see your friends. You want to go to the parties and stuff. And, this hanging over, it's like, well, if you go to this stuff, you're risking it on your own. And they're like, fine. Willing to live with that risk. And, they don't know any better. But at some point, I'm on their side. Eventually it gets to the point where it's like, okay, we can't definitively say how bad this is, and the numbers are coming back where it doesn't look like it's maybe that bad, so, roll with it. But nobody's going to say that. No leader's going to say that until there's vaccines and precautions out there that people can take. That's all I got today. All right, be careful. Stay COVID free. See you later.